but I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just going by what my 8-year-old told me.
18 children dead.
I told you that Miss Martin, the teacher, as soon as she heard that, knew to lock the door. So I think you're probably right that it may have saved some lives. It certainly was a warning sign to the teachers there to try and protect the other children there. Talk a little bit about the school. What is that elementary school like?
Well, I have to say, a very, very good school. Newtown, unfortunately, we're on the map.
So they didn't have like
Oh, this was yours, Lee.
Become nationally recognized schools. It's a very good suburb of Danbury.
Probably a
lot
coupon.
of people work in New York and in Hartford, and very safe. Never really any major issues, and. I always felt it was a very, very safe place. And
they didn't say they had like
They
a
were saying that town, like nothing happens. It's a quiet town.
Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
Circumstances come about.
Isn't that by the beach?
Have you been able to talk to any of the other parents, and what are you hearing about what may have happened?
Well, I'm hearing. I mean, this is all hearsay. The fact that this might have been a planned situation.
So that must be 2 dead right there.
Classroom, and if there is
where the sheet is, right?
Dead, that it was a
yeah.
kindergarten classroom.
That's a dead person.
News to me.
Yeah, they got the sheet over them.
So it's possible that it was a massacre of
They look like 2 people. It looked like 2 long lumps. So it had to be two people.
There's 2 elementary schools in town, so we're just one part. Newtown is 60
They closed
square
down
miles,
like
so
almost
pretty
all the
large
schools in there,
town,
you know?
but,
In that
just
district.
One elementary school in town, so there'll be a lot of
Yeah,
people affected by this.
Stephen, we're looking at pictures from just outside the elementary school where your daughter attends, and it's filled with SWAT teams, parents, running with kids in their arms, just a chaotic scene. You were there. What was it like?
People running for their kids. I mean, I couldn't get there fast enough, but
that lady looked like she had 3 kids.
So, unfortunately, a lot of people.
Yeah, because they were saying some of them, there could be 2 kids in one family that got killed.
Oh my God.
Pretty big. We have a police barracks.
They don't know,
1 or 2 exits away on the highway, so. And I know some
Look, that
police
girl is
officers
terrified.
actually had children in the school, and they were taking their kids out.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them.
So I spoke with a couple of actually I saw a state policeman, and I saw a town policeman pulling their children out. So the police was pretty heavy, and I know they're very, very on top of it, so I'm confident in the town. So.
Well, Stephen, thank you for calling in. I'm glad to hear that your daughter is okay. I know that your heart breaks with ours for the victims involved in this mass
I mean, how could you even look at a little kid?
20 years old he was.
Okay, thank you.
He knew better.
Now to John Miller, who's been reporting.
I think some people just do this stuff for attention, to be really honest with you.
From his daughters.
Just to cause a chaotic.
I don't know, though. They were saying something
Unless he's
happened where he was, and then he came down here.
Something that
I don't
occurred
know.
perhaps inside the principal's office, and that was a warning
Because it was
sign to
arguing,
teachers to lock
somebody,
the doors and hunker
before he
down.
started shooting.
What do we know about what was going on inside?
Well, since
Could you imagine what the guy's parents, the dude's parents are thinking? What did my kid just do?
Started in the principal's office.
Yeah, because they were saying something about the father.
That there was a confrontation there, and what that.
So she died.
Listen to Fidel Judas talk. What it indicates is that during the confrontation, as a way to warn the rest of the school, it sounds like somebody tripped the PA system, and that the principal usually uses
She looked young.
The school for kind of all school messages. It sounded like somebody used that to trip that so people could hear there was trouble unfolding. There was an individual in the school with a gun, so that they could start to go into their shelter-in-place lockdown mode, which a lot of teachers did. And we just heard the story of Mrs. Martin and so on. But that is the idea that this anomaly of hearing an argument and cursing
Yeah, she was
over the
young.
loudspeaker system fits in with the very first reports we got that this started in the principal's office with the shooting of the principal by this individual.
And we want to go now. We just got in some sound from a nurse.
You're watching CBS News live coverage, special report, the massacre in Sandy Hook.
Yeah, the principal was young. I'm up.
Newtown, we're going to be checking
Killer
in
knew
out with
her.
them.
You know what I mean? Was arguing with her.
28 people, 27 people dead, 18 of them believed to be children.
Let's go live right now to Channel 3's Kevin Hogan.
They look
He
up
may
his
have some information
computer if he's
on
got
the
one.
suspected
You know,
gunman.
so no.
Yeah, they'll find stuff out. Yeah. Cell phone, too.
That's right. Dennis and Denise, we're on Yogananda Street. This is a quiet residential neighborhood, very upscale neighborhood in Newtown. We're probably a couple of miles from the school. We're just off Route 34. To get a better picture of where we are just south of the Housatonic River, and we're in the Sandy Hook section of Newtown. As you see, it's all taped off, turned off, a couple of streets. The house itself, we have not been able to see. It's just around the corner.
No, I didn't see nothing on Facebook yet either, but
Shielded by trees, which we can't see.
they probably have a radio on.
Yeah.
The state police arson attack vehicle was on the road leading the neighborhood, so it was here. Don't know exactly what they did, but neighbors are pulling up here trying to figure out what's going on, and several that we witnessed and are quite upset, obviously, as to what's going on in this whole community. But we're going to be here all afternoon and evening, and we'll let you know exactly what happens. Live at the Mobile Newsroom in Newtown. Kevin Hogan, Channel 3.
Mail this for me. I was going to have a hearing, but then I had canceled it. They mailed me a letter saying.
Sad that it was canceled.
I understand
Yeah, I got him now.
Chief William Morgan, who's on the Channel 3 Eyewitness News line now. He's retired. He's former state capitol police chief.
I don't know what they're showing now. Oh.
Good afternoon. My heart and prayers go out to the families and everyone involved in this incident today.
Absolutely. It's just horrifying. And we understand that you can talk to us about shooter training and working with other organizations and departments. Excuse me, Chief, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're going to switch our coverage now to a live press conference on the shooting. We're back to you.
As you can imagine, this is Roy Oakey, the governor is chief advisor. Horrified by what's happened. He is meeting with the families right now. His chief concern is to get the families the information they need as quickly as possible. That's why he's not here. I'm going to introduce Lieutenant Paul Vance from the state police. He will talk a little bit about what's known so far. We understand that you are all interested in information. We'd like to get you that information as quickly as possible. But the governor's chief concern is making sure that the families have information.
Afterwards, yep.
And that's where he is now.
Because when they did that, the shooting at the theater, they had all the people's pictures.
I will give you some very basic brief information as we know it now, and we will set up regular press briefings as appropriate. Just after 9:30 this morning, Newtown Police received a 911 call for an emergency at the elementary school. Newtown PD, upon obtaining information as to the status of the situation,
He'd go to it.
Look at a little kid.
police and requested assistance.
He's got no
Responded to the scene
nothing.
with Newtown Police.
It's not even a human being actually doing it. It's the devil. You know what I mean? It's actually the devil, you know? This is all works of the devil.
Every crevice, every portion of that school. Our main objective was to evacuate as quickly and efficiently as possible any and all students and faculty in the school.
Then there was another one the other day, he shot people at the lawn, like 3 people.
Oh my God. No.
Just the other day.
And soon thereafter, the children and staff were reunited with
Then
their parents and their loved
he
ones.
killed himself.
There were
They always kill themselves after they kill other people. Like when it comes to something like this,
there's no information
where they know a whole bunch of cops are going to be involved, it's like, let me hurt people before I kill myself.
the shooter is deceased.
Let me cause this big scene
There's a great deal of work that is
and chaos, because that's what they're doing.
locating the shooter, and that is there's a great deal of search warrant
He's,
activity,
you know.
law enforcement activity both in and
You
out
know?
of state,
Mhm.
to make sure that we cover all the bases relative to that specific individual. Suffice it to say, the scene is secure. State police.
You know what you're doing when you grab a gun and go into a school and start shooting people. I don't care how mentally incapacitated people say they are. You know what you're doing. You know you're hurting people.
regular basis. We'll put everything out via our website and with these press conferences. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Grosso right now.
The governor took a call from President Obama a little while ago, who was calling to express his condolences.
Wow, Obama already heard about it. It's national news.
The federal government can bring to bear to assist the families and to assist in the investigation. We will get you information as soon as we can get the families.
I could not imagine something like that ever happening. Ugh.
The governor will be here, and we will set up regular briefings. Thank you.
Again, no questions at this time. I apologize. We will not be able to answer any questions. The scene is secure. The situation is secure. We will notify you shortly when we will come back for another briefing. As quickly as we can.
He said no questions in this, so.
And everything here, right? All the briefings here?
And there you see Newtown. You've been watching live coverage of a briefing in Newtown, the scene of that school massacre this morning. Governor Malloy, we're told, is meeting with families. His chief concern right now is trying to get information to the families as soon as possible.
The first person you saw speaking there is the governor's chief advisor, Roy Okiagrosso. He was also joined by Lieutenant Paul Vance, who is the spokesperson for the state police, who said they are right now executing search warrants in and out of state to help get some more information about this crime.
The audio was a bit difficult to hear, so just to recap briefly what was said there, Lieutenant Paul Vance went over the 911 call that came in at 9:30. Help was requested from the state police. Immediately upon arrival, state police began an active search of the building, and their main objective was to evacuate as quickly as possible, get students and staff out of there. They searched the entire school.
Yeah, I don't.
He did confirm fatalities at the scene, as he put it, but he did not give specific numbers. He said no specific numbers would be given until all the families are notified. He did mention that the scene is secure.
I mean, half of them, they know now.
And federal police are all working together on that. Also, that President Obama had called to
unless they're hiding somewhere, they could have ran into a closet and hid.
Well, some did. Some kids did, but the police found them. Closet, they were all right.
Well, let's go right now to Channel 3's Robert Goulston, who is as close to the school as police will let him get. Robert?
Yeah, Dennis.
Look how many people are coming, oh God.
Firehouse as we come over here to the scene, which is down the road there, about 200 yards or so. Right now, as you heard state police saying that the scene is secure, but there is just so much work to do. We just talked to one source.
So you're thinking, so the parents probably saying, oh, this is the principal. You know what I mean?
Number may actually
and then they
go up, of course,
say don't come down.
They were at the hospital.
They were calling parents and saying don't come to the school.
Well, they're not going to listen, I'm sorry, but.
It was actually shooting
Well,
children.
they were going, but the police were keeping them in another building. You know, whoever did come down, there was like another building near the school or something.
Could you?
They were telling.
So they were basically being barricaded. Well, they can't just run into the school because they have to. Oh, they got such a huge job ahead of them. They got to do what? Fingerprints and everything, dusting, clean up. Oh, God. Because there's got to be. There's got to be a lot of blood. Oh, God.
But 27 people killed inside. One source telling us
one of them did say they saw
people are children, 9 are
a child that wasn't moving like a 9.
Oh, God.
Slightly. Some very staggering numbers here as we get more information about this deadly shooting. Back to you guys.
Robert, I want to ask you, Lieutenant Vance said that the gunman is dead inside the school and there's no reason for the public to be in any danger. Do we know anything more about the gunman from your sources?
Yeah, one source telling us that this gunman
We don't have his age. We are hearing from our network that it was a man in his 20s. He was wearing camo pants, and when he came into the school, he must have known somebody in the school because the school does have a.
Well, there was another one in the woods with cameo pants too, so maybe they were together. You know what I mean? Well, the police got him anyway.
Yeah.
He's saying, no, it wasn't me, it wasn't me.
So this wasn't just one classroom. We are also hearing from one source that they were actually hiding children inside cabinets and things like that as they started hearing the gunshots. Back to you guys.
Robert Wilson reporting live from the school.
I know, because his classroom is open. Yeah, they must have all
They probably
been.
don't want to go to school no more.
The teachers who stepped
No, they probably don't.
doors and hid children in
You know, they're going to be scared to go.
They're going to be scared to go.
There's even some thoughts.
They're going to be traumatized from this.
They have tripped that PA system in this.
But a psychiatrist was saying, you know, she came on and she was saying,
warn the teachers that something was going on.
just tell them everything's all right, they're safe with you,
was arguing with someone
they should be going back to school.
before it all started to
Who are you?
unfold, and that the teachers and some administrators
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
in a
Are you
conference
crazy?
room or a classroom or something like that in office.
They don't want to go back to school at
There are
first,
also
but I
reports
guess they got to get them
indicated that there
some,
were
you know?
They got to get therapy, and then they need therapy
various
first,
classrooms, but that
because
there are reports that
that's too horrific.
in one classroom.
They're not even going to be able to sleep at night tonight.
There's one
The parents, they're not going to be able to sleep,
is unaccounted for.
Oh, dear.
so there's still people are unaccounted for.
Again, it just seems like it keeps getting.
Some kids or whoever are still unaccounted for.
And earlier we saw
Maybe
that
they're hiding.
Lieutenant Vance and
That's what I'm
Roy
hoping.
Grosso, advisor of the governor, who said that the governor is meeting with families of the victims right now.
Or they ran out of
console
school,
them, give
you
them
know?
any information that he may have. Again, the information keeps coming in, and the more we learn, Denise, the more disturbing it becomes.
Because
Absolutely, and Governor Malloy is expected to give a briefing.
they could still be hiding somewhere in the
In
school.
school, that's, yeah.
Police
Cabin.
events unfold here in Newtown. If you're just joining us now, just hearing about this awful tragedy, a school massacre in the quiet, peaceful town of Newtown, Connecticut.
Oh, it's
At an
Newtown, okay.
elementary school, Sandy Hook Elementary. Young students from kindergarten
They got it
to
mixed
grade.
up. It's Newtown School in Sandy Hook.
Said to be the worst school massacre
You got it mixed up.
in
He said,
American history.
Sandy Hook.
The worst school massacre in American history.
At least back to the last couple
So that's worse than Columbine?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I cried when I saw the Columbine commercials and news.
One scene of the shooting may have been a kindergarten class.
Last time we had something like this was the summer of 2010 in
Unbelievable.
Manchester, Distributors.
Look how big that school is. That school is big. Wow.
Before that, it was March of 1998 when 5 people were killed at the Connecticut
I mean,
Lottery
bringing your kids to kindergarten thinking you
in
can.
Newington.
Well, they're supposed to be safe.
After murdering 4 people. Denise, I was trying to
But I'm wondering, they'll probably end up getting security now. They gotta beef up security with
The
schools.
children knew the principal or something, you know?
Well, that's what they were saying. They think he might have known somebody inside the
Over the
school.
internet or something, and then just
Freak flipped
maybe
out,
he liked her and
snapped.
talking, and
Who knows?
you know what I mean? Oh, I teach at blah 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 school. You know
Well,
what I mean?
they gotta investigate his house, wherever he lives. They gotta.
For adults to comprehend.
But it's kind of fishy if the other, if they said he was in fatigue and the one in the woods was in fatigue,
What's fatigue?
you know, like,
Oh, the cameo stuff.
Yeah.
Young children not to let their children see any of these images on television, and it just does not help at all. It creates, as you put it, a loop in their brain where they continue to see this. But if they do happen to hear of it, as children will often do, to reassure them that this was an isolated thing and that they are safe, and, you know, to do your best to reassure and keep them grounded.
And as you might expect, in cases like this will lead to a
I know
debate
it's
over
safe
gun
now,
control, the
but
death
what
penalty,
if
and so
his
forth.
classmates
Connecticut
got
does
killed?
have some
You know
pretty
what I
strict
mean?
gun control
Could
legislation
be
right
their
now, so
cousin. It could be their best friend. It could be.
And I'm
Yeah,
sure there'll be
somebody in the
security
family.
measures. I know that there are some schools that do have metal detectors, that kind of thing, so.
I mean, they just started school, September, October, November, 3 months ago. I know.
All of these
Terrified. 3 months ago, they just started school.
children trying to piece together
4 months ago, maybe.
that unfolded inside Captain Morgan is back with us on the Channel 3 Eyewitness News line. Can you hear me?
Retired Chief Phil Morgan again.
Retired Chief. Okay, thank you so much.
Formerly of the Capitol Police Force.
Yes.
Sure.
We understand that you have some knowledge of how these situations are coordinated, and it is quite impressive to have state, local, federal police all working together in such a chaotic situation, working together so smoothly. Can you talk a little bit about that?
No, nothing.
Law enforcement basically train together in a number of ways, including the active shooter training you heard Lieutenant Vance describe. Whether your arriving officers immediately go into the building and look for the location of the person who's causing the problem. And at that point, their training is to stop the problem.
You're wasting all your...
I could delete it after. I'm gonna put it on YouTube.
The purpose of that training is designed to go in.
They don't. Some people don't post them. It depends on people. Some people don't post right away.
How we move through the building in groups of 2 or 3 officers, and it varies because the amount of people who arrive at the scene varies. And so that's the active shooter training that you've heard talk about.
Okay. And, you know, they do train for a mass shooting of this size. It's not something that we ever want to think about happening in Connecticut, yet it did today.
Correct. You've heard
Wow, that's a pretty big-sized area.
Activation. And the state police have done that in the past, and the purpose of that is to bring an immense amount of resources to the scene, to the location, to help manage and control what's going to be occurring at that time.
All right, Chief, is there anything that you have observed or know from watching our coverage and perhaps from talking to the citizens who were there at the scene that you could share with us about how the security effort is going?
Well, I went to the Capitol.
I'm going to go there.
Capitol last shot. So where the Capitol was. The other one was the Capitol from the Armory last shot. Yep.